Hello and welcome to Indie Learning Music Tutor. I'm your tutor Harry. Today we're going to talk about harmonization of the major scale. This is a continuation of the prior video on the major scale. Harmonization of the major scale basically deals with how we generate chords from the scale and various scale degrees. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and octave. The types of scales that we're going to be dealing with are on the single octave scale, so it will be just from your root to the tonic. We're not going to deal with upper extensions. That is for a future video. So the chords we'll be dealing with are the major 7, minor 7, dominant, and minor 7 flat 5. The order of these chords on the major scale will be major, minor, minor, major, dominant, minor, and minor 7 flat 5. So this is just a simple roadmap to understand where we're coming from. How that order is generated is based on stacking thirds to create things called arpeggios. And what arpeggios are is just the main meat and potatoes of a chord. Your root, your third, your fifth, your seventh are the general determinants of the chord. Your root and your fifth tell you what chord it is, and your third and your seventh tell you whether it's a major, a minor, a dominant. The only exception to this rule is the flat 5 chord, to which the 5 actually tells you what it is, and we'll talk about chord construction later and how that can alter how we present the chord. Present the arpeggio, and then present the chord. So when we look at our major scale, our C major scale, we notice that the first degree is C, and the second degree is D. If we say it follow the same formula that we use for the C major arpeggio, C, E, G, and B, what happens is we'll end up with D, F sharp, A, C sharp, which doesn't fit the C major scale. The major arpeggio construction is root, stack a major third to get your third, stack a minor third to get your fifth, and stack another major third to get your seventh. That's how you get C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, a major third, E, F, F sharp, G, a minor third, and then G, G sharp, A sharp, B, a major third. A major third is simply just 4 semitones, so 1, 2, 3, 4 is your major third, and a minor third would just be 3 semitones. That has to do with the division of the 12-tone equal temperament scale. Is it perfect? No, it's not mathematically perfect, but it's as close as we can get while using a 12-tone scale. So when we go to our D chord, we notice immediately our next tone after D in a stacking third scenario, in order to fit our C major scale, because you have to remember that the D chord is in the C major scale, it's a second degree. We have D, D sharp, E, F. F is our fourth, so that would be our second tone in the arpeggio. Being the second tone in the arpeggio, it is a minor third. That's what determines the D chord to be a minor chord. We have to remember, when we're harmonizing the major scale, we're operating in the key of that major scale. So all of our chords have to be generated from that scale. The interesting thing about that is that it builds its own major minor template, and it always fits the one that I told you about. There is a graphic, and I'm hoping that I can get it in the window here. If not, it'll be just displayed on the page. And I'll have a link to the, I'll have the graphic uploaded to the post. So you can have it and look at it and what have you. So continuing on with the D minor chord, now we went from D to F with a minor third. Now we're going to go to our fifth, which is, we're at F, so F sharp, G, G sharp, A. Our fifth from D is A, and that's a major third. Basically, the whole idea between minor and major chords is to maintain that perfect fifth. And I'll explain to you what the whole deal with the perfect fifth, perfect fourth thing is at a later time. Moving forward, when we go to our seventh on the D minor, we start at A sharp, B, C, and it's a minor seventh, and it's a minor movement away from the fifth. That's where that nomenclature really comes from. And as we move around the scale, we'll notice that all of these things remain true. One easy trick to understand where you're at and where you're going is to remember that your root, third, fifth, and seventh are always going to be a two-letter difference apart. So your root is C, you skip D, you go to E. That's your third. Your root is D, you go to F, you skip E. That's your third. So on and so forth. There is no exception to that rule. That's how that works. And for function, it makes life a lot easier once you know your fretboard, or you know your instrument enough to call on any note possible, to be able to just land into a note that fits perfectly with the chord. Our next video, we will go through arpeggiation as fingered on the instrument, and the methods for reaching those arpeggios using different fingering starting points. This is Harry Felker. Have a great day.